You say you want to work out. You say you want to impact others. You say you want to take better care of yourself. You say you want to start a business. But sister, you won't even take the first step. I went from broken and depressed to living in a dream, to living in fulfillment. And I'm here to share exactly what I did that actually helped me become the most fulfilled version of myself. If you're ready to say yes to changing more than you want to stay the same, working through the growing pains, committing despite the motivation going away, ready to get unstuck and become unrecognizable, then this episode is for you. And this is just a reminder, as you're working through these habits and applying them to your life, being fulfilled is an ongoing journey, because I am fulfilled, but there are still things that I am working through. And so I know that these habits actually work because when I changed them, my life started to shift. My mindset started to shift, and I'm actually able to live in fulfillment despite the chaos that may be going on around me. Let's get into it. Unlearning perfectionism. My therapist helped me realize that when I try to make things perfect, it ends up being less perfect. Perfectionism is the need to do everything flawlessly and perfectly, which can sometimes lead to procrastination and burnout. And it's rooted in the fear of making mistakes, not being good enough, or just failing in totality. When you unlearn perfectionism, you begin to accept progress over perfection, and understanding that by taking action, you are able to grow through those mistakes. Start even when it's not exactly how you want it. Start even though you're not good at talking in front of the camera. The more reps you put in, the more refined you are going to be. And all of those things I struggled with, which is what kept me off of YouTube for so long. I didn't feel like I was good enough at talking. And so this is me showing up and showing you that you don't have to be perfect. When you first start, you are building those reps, you are building up that muscle, and over time, you're going to realize the thing that you once struggled at is the thing that you're actually exceptional at now. What is something that you've been procrastinating on out of feeling like you need to be perfect? Curate an inspiring environment. This is one of the toughest things to do, but it saves you so much headspace in the long run. I learned that what your space looks like is a direct reflection of how you feel on the inside. I 1000% get it, because that's how I lived for so long, living in a messy space, not taking care of myself because I didn't have the energy and I didn't feel like I had the capacity to even do it. But I didn't have a reality check until one of my friends came over and took pictures of my entire house and texted it to me and said, "You have to get it together. You cannot keep living like this." And that was something that I am so grateful for, because I didn't have that realization until someone pointed it out to me. And this is me pointing it out to you. I want you to look around in your space. What does your space currently look like? Are there clothes all over the floor? When was the last time that you wiped all of your mirrors? When was the last time that you washed your clothes and you hung them up? Do you have a pile that is this high sitting in your room? These are all things that you can pay attention to. And I get it. It's tough to want to even clean when you feel like there's so much going on in your life that is really hard to add something onto what you're already going through. As soon as I finished with something, I would throw it away instead of just leaving it on the counter or putting it in a drawer. And when I had my dirty clothes, I made sure that I didn't just throw it on the floor, but I intentionally set it inside the hamper so that it created that clean space for me. And this took a lot of practice, I'm telling you, because I was so used to just leaving stuff on the floor, leaving stuff on my bed, but it's going to make a difference when you do this. So here are your first steps. If you have a stack of mail somewhere in your house just piled up, I want to challenge you to open it, read through it, and throw it away. Donate the clothes that don't fit you, that you don't wear anymore. Clean out your closet. You can change your space. Something fresh always inspires me, and I really believe that it's going to inspire you too, especially when you're in a space that is not conducive to your environment. Not allowing your emotions to lead you. This means showing up and following through with the commitment you made, even when the feelings that you made it in are gone. There is something so inspiring and so special and so much confidence that's built inside of us when we do the thing that we told ourselves we were going to do. And as women, I understand that our emotions are all over the place. Trust me, I absolutely get it. I have to be very intentional about this habit because of the fact that I used to let my emotions lead my decisions all of the time. And I allowed that emotion to keep me from showing up at the gym, to keep me from not doing my work, to keep me from not doing the things that I know would make me feel better at the end of the day. And when you show up despite how you feel, this not only builds confidence within you, but it builds the momentum for you to keep going. You are going to be putting discipline into practice. You're going to be putting courage into practice. And when you show up, this is an act of faith. Faith that you believe that your situation is going to be different. And your transformation happens in the movement. Make a plan. How many of us made goals in 2024 and did not look back at some of them? Give yourself some grace. There are still 3 months left in 2025, and we are going to finish 2024 better than we started it. I want you to go and dig up that 2024 plan, or if you want to make a new plan that serves you better for where you currently are, then let's do that, because we are finishing better than we started. We are not slowing down. We are picking up the pace. And this year is coming to an end, so we must walk with intentionality, with strategy, and with faith. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain. No more going with the flow. Grab your notes app on your phone, grab your journal, and let's take some notes. What goal do I want to accomplish in the next 3 months? Is this goal in alignment with what God is leading me to do or has led me to do that I haven't started? What action steps will help me accomplish this goal? How will your progress be measured? Let's walk through and answer these questions. God is leading me to post content on YouTube, which is something that He told me to do that I hadn't started. I can start researching how to make YouTube videos. I can start practicing talking on camera. I could make an account and pick a start date. I'll bring up everything I can think of and set daily intentions that get me closer to that goal. I'll create a checklist, I'll track my progress daily, and I'll follow a YouTube posting schedule. Pivot. You might set a goal and the plan that you made to get there isn't turning out the way that you really thought it would. If something isn't working, instead of giving up on that goal, we're just gonna make a new plan. Allow yourself to have that flexibility to do that without giving yourself a hard time for it. There's a difference in changing up what you're doing because it's not working versus when you quit. So don't allow that mind frame keep you in a place where you're not meant to be anymore. This is consistent trial and error as we're on the journey to our dreams. There will be times when what worked in one season isn't going to work in the next. What brought you here isn't going to get you there. This is because we are forever evolving, and God is elevating us. He is taking us higher. When I first started, I had to pivot so many times, I can't even count. For example, there was a time when I was on my weight loss journey because I was 245 pounds. And so my first thought was, I'm going to make a plan to eat healthier. And so what I started with was when I would go out to eat, I would just swap it with healthier meals. And as time went on, I realized that this was not working and I wasn't losing the weight, but I built up that habit. I then had to pivot and make healthier meals at home, which then allowed me to achieve that goal that I wanted initially. Whether it was a new approach to my routine or my strategy to staying motivated, I had to let go of the idea that my first plan was the only option. Journaling, tracking your progress is one of the most important things when you're working towards living a life that you actually love. If you're not tracking, it's very hard to be self-aware and be in tune with your emotions, your actions, and your habits. It doesn't mean that you can't if you're not journaling, but there are so many things that will come up and patterns you'll start to recognize through what you're writing on each page. Maybe something you need to let go of, maybe something you didn't realize about yourself. Maybe it's just to calm the noise that's been built up in your mind. It is by far one of my favorite tools to help me change the way that I think, assess patterns that keep me stuck, allows me to find ways to move forward, helps me to see my growth and how far I've truly come. It provides me a safe space for God to come and meet me to help me process my emotions. And if you're wondering, does this really work? I'm about to show you that it does. It has been 3 days since I've journaled. I felt off balance and seeing myself move backwards because I'm not actively engaging in the habits that make me feel good. I've realized that I can only control my thoughts. I cannot control others or how they treat me. I respond this way because I don't want to be hurt. And if I go with the flow, I feel as if I'm becoming vulnerable and open arms to accepting hurt. I must keep doing the things that make me feel joy, like walking, like writing, and filling up other people's cups. And through a lot of these injuries, I'm noticing that I was really trying to encourage myself because at that time, I didn't know the Lord and I didn't have anyone else to encourage me. Keep pushing and taking step after step. It's not easy, but today is better. I can do this. Create belief in myself by showing up. I've been really scared to start. I'm intimidated, but I can do this. Remind myself to put notes up around my room. I also wrote a contract to myself and I just have to read it to you. I am committing to release people from my life who drain me, who have red flags, who distract me and manipulate me. When I notice these things, even if they're a good person, I must choose me and know this decision to move forward and move on will outweigh the benefit of keeping them in my life when they hold no real value. That right there is so good. I remember signing this, and when I signed this, I held myself accountable to this word. Anytime I met someone who I realized was a person that didn't truly benefit me or serve the person that I wanted to become, I had to make that hard decision to let them go. I was so broken and down bad back then that I tried everything I could to change the dynamic of my situation. I focused on things that I could control, and everything that I couldn't control, I gave it to the Lord because I knew it was already in His hands. If there is one thing that you can start today, it is journaling. For over a year, I have been pouring my love, my entire heart into creating a guided journal that is going to help you on your journey. It is full of all of the tools that I actively used to transform my life. The Michaela from 2 years ago, who was in her darkest moment, would have wished to have this journal to not only deepen her faith and to heal, but close the gap between her current reality and where she was destined to be. This is why I truly believe that God led me to create the Best Believe Journal to help someone who was where I once was and also to help someone who is where I am now, working towards my dreams. And I literally could cry right now to even share this with you that this is dropping on October 11th, 2024. I have been going back and forth with the manufacturer for months trying to make this absolutely perfect for you. I've changed things, I've added things just to make sure this is the quality that you deserve. Not only aesthetic on the outside, but valuable on the inside. We have launched this journal before, but this is an absolute upgrade. As I told you, we changed everything to make it absolutely better. And if it's already transformed so many women's lives, imagine what it could do for you. And to grab one for you and a friend, go to www.madebytheword.com and click the link in the description so that I can personally notify you and tell you when the journals are about to drop. And as a thank you, the first 50 orders are going to get an exclusive discount. Thank you so much for supporting me. And most importantly, being willing to take a chance on you. Oh my gosh, I'm just so grateful. I'm so excited. I can't even contain myself. Be willing to say no. What you say yes to, you're also saying no to something else. Life is all about balance and understanding the current season that you're in. If someone is inviting you to go do something that isn't in alignment with the person that you're working towards becoming, say no. We have to stop being people pleasers and do what is best for us. I remember making the necessary sacrifices so that I didn't hold myself hostage to my past. And these sacrifices that you're making, they don't always last forever. There are some that are just gone for a season. So for example, I'm building Made by the Word, which means that I'm saying no to going to the movies as much because that takes up a lot of my time. And I know that in this season, I really have to put my head down and work on launching so that I can become the person I know that God has called me to be. And that also pushes me to walk in obedience. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result, which is why I made that decision to say no. Your first step in knowing what to say no to is to define your values. If your value is honesty, you're saying no to stealing. Define your goals. If your goal is to lose weight, you're saying no to buying candy at the store. If your goal is to prioritize self-care, you're reflecting that in your routine. Define your identity. My identity is in Christ, which means I say no to tarot readings, I say no to witchcraft, I say no to referring as a higher power or the universe because I know that God was the creator of the universe. I say yes to the Holy Spirit. I say yes to seeking guidance from God. Define your purpose. We're going to go more generalized just for this example. But if your purpose is to uplift and inspire, you're not going to go and gossip about someone who is messing up. You're going to actually go and help them become better. Define your boundaries. If you know that you're not in the right mental space to take on someone else's negative problems and them venting it all on you, you can say no to that. You can say no to answering the phone. You can even contact them and let them know that what you're going through in this season, you're not able to hear any negative conversations. And this is something that I did. I told people that I cannot hear you venting right now because I can barely take care of my own problems. And by doing this, I was saying yes to my mental peace, because people will expect you to carry their weight and not caring if it affects you or not. So I encourage you to define these 5 things so that you can make better decisions as you're becoming the person you were destined to be. Heal from your past. It wasn't until I dealt with my past trauma, the memories I suppressed, the memories that left me broken and in so much pain, that I was able to start healing. Where you are going, you cannot take this pain and this hurt with you. When you're unhealed, you're not walking in who you truly are, because you're carrying every single scar with you, even the scars that you can't even see, or the scars that you don't even know that are there. And without even realizing it, you could have a memory buried so deep that it subconsciously starts to affect how you treat people and how you treat yourself. And this can happen without you even remembering the exact situation that occurred. In therapy, I learned that I tend to overshare out of the fear of conflict, rooting from a history of abuse. So when people ask me questions, I can sometimes get anxious and I start to cover every single thing they can think of, and then I answer the question. But that is rooted from fear. And so I had to go back to those old memories, really sit and ask the Lord to reveal to me, where is this coming from, so that I could uproot that and start making changes in my life so that I don't continue that habit. And by going back and doing this, it allows me to really be more intentional and aware in those moments that it can come back up and occur. And I can choose in that moment to respond differently. My encouragement to you is that you sit with yourself, be honest with yourself, and ask the Lord to reveal to you what are some things that you still need healing from. This process of healing back the layers, breaking down the walls that we put up due to a trauma response, it's hard. It's painful. It can feel like you're losing yourself. But I promise, in this transition, you are figuring out who you truly are, and you're letting go of all these layers that are on top of you that were there due to the pain. And as you're doing this, you may have the feeling of wanting to go back to the familiar because it seems easier. This place of familiarity is comforting to you because you're not having to face what hurt you. And this does not lead to pure joy because you're carrying something that was never supposed to be there in the first place. What is something that you are carrying that you are going to work on letting go? Abiding in the Lord. I want to read John 15:1-5 because this can explain it way better than I ever could. I am the true grapevine and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit so they will produce even more. You have already been pruned and purified by the message I have given you. Remain in me and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. Yes, I am the vine, you are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Verse 7, but if you remain in me and my words remain in you, you may ask for anything you want, and it will be granted. When you produce much fruit, you are my true disciples. This brings great glory to my Father. And abiding in the Lord can look like praying every morning, listening to worship music while you work out, taking care of yourself, speaking nicely to yourself and to others, involving Him in your day-to-day activities. It is not exclusive to a time frame or a place. And when I say that my life will absolutely never be the same, I mean it. There's just this light that shines so bright and goes so deep into your heart when you surrender, when you give Him the weight that you're carrying, when you allow Him to guide you every step of the way, when you accept Him into your heart, you're different. Trigger warning. I was suffocated, I was punched in my face, and I had a black eye. And this broke me down to the point that I wanted to rest and just never wake up again. But in that moment, my name was called. I tried to run and there was nowhere to go. I was embarrassed, I felt shame, I felt guilt. I was mad at myself for allowing myself to go through this. I tried to go and escape by going to a beach, realizing that I was in a peaceful place, but I wasn't at peace internally. So if I'm living in fulfillment after what I've been through, then so can you. Sister, you are being brought higher. You are walking into the person you were always meant to be. You are in the becoming. Say this with me. I am in agreement with who God has called me to be. I am made by the word, and by the word I am set free. I pray that this video was exactly what you needed to hear, because these are the actual steps you can take to become the most fulfilled version of yourself. And I went in depth. This is such a special episode to me because of all of the sacrifices and the hard work that it took to get me to where I am today, which is to a point where I love my life and I'm genuinely happy and I'm excited every single day to work towards the vision that God's called me to. If you have any other tips you want to share with any of the girlies in this community, make sure to drop it in the comments. And if you want more support on your journey, make sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Michaela Inspires. I love you and I'm so excited that we get to do life together. And don't forget, we are dropping in 2 weeks. Love you. Bye.